Hey everybody, Sammy here, your host of the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. So excited to be here for another episode where we're going to talk a little bit about ways that nonprofits can raise more money online, because that is something that is super needed right now. And I, just feel for you all with having to close your fundraisers, cancel your galas, your run walks, whatever it is that you had planned for this summer going into this fall. And even, for many organizations that have things planned in the spring, it's difficult. And so I wanted to try to support you in figuring out ways that you can raise more money online. And I have a guide that you can get at thefirstclick.net/fundraiser, which is 9 ways for nonprofits to raise more money online. And today we're going to pick out 3 that I think I just wanted to talk a little bit more about in depth. So we're going to talk about 3 different of the 9 in today's episode, but you can check out the entire guide at thefirstclick.net/fundraise. They're not all some of them are techie. They're not all super techie. They're definitely a wide variety of options for you guys to choose. And I want to make it clear, you do not need to do all 9. I highly recommend you don't. But pick out a couple from the guide that make the most sense for your organization, where you're at and where it's going to help you raise the most money, where you're going to be able to get the quickest wins, and implement those and go from there. So thefirstclick.net/fundraise, get the 9 ways for nonprofits to raise more money online. And with that, let's get into this episode. You're listening to the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Bedell-Mulhern, and each week I bring you tips from myself and other experts, as well as hot seats with small business owners and entrepreneurs to demystify digital marketing and get you on your way to generating more leads and growing your business. Here we go. We're going to talk about 3 of I shouldn't say my favorite, because they're all really good, but 3 that I wanted to make sure we dive into a little bit deeper. 3 of the 9 ways you can fundraise online. So if you're a nonprofit that hasn't gotten into the online space yet, I promise you this podcast is going to be great for you. We have so many episodes coming up that are just going to be great at getting you online, getting you comfortable online, getting you to raise more money, and just getting you to build more audiences that are going to be lifetime fans for you. And so the first thing that I really want to chat with you about, which is number 2 in our 9 ideas, is to beef up your website's donation page. So a lot of times this is an afterthought on your website. It's not something that you necessarily maybe spend a lot of time on, but there's a lot of great features that I think people don't think about when it comes to online donations, let alone the fact that it's automated and you don't have to do as much work. And several of your software programs that you're probably already using have an online donation option. And those automated emails that go out, the ability for people to check, what they've donated, like all of that stuff is awesome, because saving you time saves you money and allows you to do other things and serve your community better. So our favorite online interface is GiveWP, and we are affiliates for them, but I highly recommend them. They're a great software program. They're not the cheapest, but they do great work. And some of the features that we love are the fact that you can set up recurring donations really easily. So people can give $1, $5, $10, $20 a month, whatever, on a regular basis. We love that it gives you the option to add the credit card fee, so they can absorb that, so you don't have to pay that cost. It has a lot of customizable options if you are somebody that can do a little bit of coding, but it's beautiful either way. And it integrates so nicely with so many other credit card processing companies like Stripe or PayPal or Square or Authorize.net, whatever you use. So it's super easy. And there's a lot of platforms out there that do that, but we really like GiveWP's ability to do that. And so that just brings up, and what we have in the guide is a lot of questions to ask when determining which donation platform you want to use. And so I'm going to run through those really quickly here. So you want to consider if it does integrate with your current payment processor. There's no reason to go out and get a new payment processor just because the platform that you have doesn't support it. Most likely it will, but just ask. And if you reach out to the donation platform you're using, they will probably integrate with it, even if it's not easily visible on their website. Can you take recurring payments? We love having recurring payments as an option. It just is a no-brainer. And it tells you as an organization, like, I know I'm going to get $5 every single month from this person. And especially right now, reaching out and asking people for smaller recurring payments might be easier than asking for that larger donation. So if I can get 50 people at $5, right, through social posts and whatnot, and you'll definitely want to listen to next week's episode where we talk about using social media for fundraising, that can add up quickly to a good amount of money. And then roughly every month, like, kind of what's going to happen. You'll have to check your retention rates and all that. We can talk about all that in another episode, but it helps to know that you've got a certain amount of money coming in. Not all platforms and not all credit card processors allow for recurring payment, and that has to do with the security for your customers. So you definitely want, if that's something that's important to you, you want to make sure that that is an option that they provide. And then, like we talked about, will it allow your donors to pay the processing fee? Again, especially if you're doing smaller donations and if you're with a platform like Square, for example, that might charge a per transaction fee, having that option can really help recoup quite a bit of cost for your organization. So we definitely recommend a platform that can allow that to happen. Do you have customizable forms? So a lot of platforms have an iframe, what's called an iframe. So it's a code that you put into your website, and then it just populates that into your webpage. A lot of times, if you're working with things on the back end of like a CRM or a donor software, you don't have as much customization on your form as you might want for the look and the feel. And that's totally fine. It doesn't have to be fully customized, but maybe you want to do something a little bit different, or maybe you need to take membership dues and donors and sponsorships, and you need to be able to make them all look different so that you can tweak those to your specific audience. So having forms that are customizable is great. Beyond that, having forms that you can customize the information is also important. Maybe you want to know who referred them, so you can give them credit. Maybe you're running a competition with your students that you serve, and they're selling, or they're going out and selling things for $1. I don't know, whatever. If they can put their name in and you can attribute it to them, that might be something that's important to you. Maybe you want to know that they are a sponsorship for a run walk that you're doing or an online auction that you're doing. So having customizable forms so that you can gather information about your donors is also super important. And then having that conversation about, does the form, whatever your donation platform that you're using, does the form integrate? Like, do they talk to each other so that that information that you get can be easily utilized and tracked as well? And then, just the easiest thing is just, does your existing donor platform have an option for you to use? So that's the easiest barrier to get through, right? Like, use the platform you're already used to, use the platform you're already comfortable with. And maybe, no, it doesn't allow a lot of customization, but at least you have something out there that will work while you work through exactly what you need it to be, exactly what you need it to do, all of that good stuff. And so the biggest thing I want to say about this is, don't get overwhelmed with tech. Make a list of your must-have features. And then as you start to go out and research, tick the boxes and just make a chart that says, okay, yep, this one ticks the most boxes. We're going to go with that one, take it and move forward. Okay. But having that website donation page, especially now, is a great way for you to send it out quickly in an email to your donors, send it out on social media, send it out to your volunteers, whatever it might be. Having that donation page makes it really easy to process donations and get more money coming through your bank account, and having automated receipts, all of that good stuff. It's super easy, and I highly recommend that you take a look at your donation page if you haven't done it in a while, and set one up if you don't have one now. Okay, so that's number one. The second one that I want to share with you guys today is number 3 in the guide, and that is start creating content on a regular basis. Now, I know that this feels overwhelming. It feels overwhelming to everybody, nonprofit or general business. Creating content on a regular basis is scary. And when I say regular basis, I love to see content coming out on a weekly basis from organizations, but it also is quality over quantity. So consistency is key. So figure out for your organization what you can do consistently. And by content here, I'm speaking specifically about a blog. Now, I would love to see every single nonprofit have a blog on their website. Why? Number one is it shares information with your audience that's relevant, that might make that decision for, is this the nonprofit that I want to be a donor at? Is this the after-school program that I want to send my kid to? Is this the food bank where I, as the grocery store, want to give, my extra produce to? Is this, the animal shelter that I want to adopt my pet from? So it helps on so many levels. Is this the organization I want to volunteer at? It gives people more insight into who you serve, how you serve them, success stories you've had, highlighting, I might be jumping a little bit ahead of myself, but yeah, gives you the opportunity to highlight your volunteers, your board members, your donors, your students, your pets, your environmental costs, whatever it is. It just builds that authority for you as somebody who really is a leader in the community that you serve, and helps to draw in donors and people of all various stages of your business. Now, it also helps on an SEO front, which is search engine optimization, because it shares more information about what your organization is about, which helps Google understand, all search engines understand who they should be serving your content to when they're searching for specific words. So we highly recommend that you have content coming out on a regular basis. Now, the other benefit is that you can have a call to action in each post that's going to drive people either to more information, to a donation page, asking them to sign up for your email list. But it gives you an opportunity to get them to take the next step so that they can move forward with your organization and get more engaged, become raving fans, and continue to share what you do with other people. We also love that it gives you content for all of your social media. So social media is one of the things that's in the guide. We're not going to talk about it today, but it is in the guide. And by creating content on a regular basis, you then have your social media posts that you can share. One post can turn into 6 different posts. And we have some podcasts already on repurposing content, but we will be having more coming out as we go. And I will link up those in the show notes for this episode. But it gives you, you could come up with 3 or 4 different posts that you can use on your social media for the next coming weeks. And it just helps to create that so you have less that you need to produce separately from that. So content on a regular basis. I love it. And hopefully now you have members on your team that might be able to take a little bit of time to work on that, as opposed to, maybe the events that you guys can't put on. So that's number 3. I'm sorry, number 2 here, number 3 in the guide. Okay, so the last one that I really wanted to talk about today is number 6 in our guide, which is leverage your email list. I am a huge fan of email marketing. I think it's extremely impactful and important. But what happens with a lot of organizations is they don't reach out to their list on a regular basis. They only reach out to them when it's an annual fun time, or when it's time for an event or a fundraiser, time to buy tickets, time to donate. Now, don't get me wrong. You can include that information on every single email. And in fact, you should. You should have links that take people directly to your donation page, where if they feel compelled by that particular email, they can just go ahead and make that donation. You want to make that easy for them. But what we want to do is take that content that you've been creating on a regular basis and email that out to your list as well. We want to share things with them that are just educational or inspiring. They don't always have to be tied to a specific ask. And what this does is keeps you top of mind with your donors, sponsors, businesses, volunteers. So maybe you have volunteers that haven't volunteered for your organization for 6 months. Then they get an email and they're like, oh, I used to love working with that organization. I don't know why I stopped. But they do stop. And that could be the thing that ignites them again. Or maybe you have a business owner that suddenly has an influx of a certain product or service that you need. And by putting that out there, by emailing them on a regular basis, it triggers for them, oh yeah, I have all of a sudden all these shirts that are seconds that I can't sell in my store because there's some minor flaw that's totally non-existent to anybody else, but they can't use it, right? I'm going to donate it to this organization because I know that they can use it for their youth program. I don't know. These are not very good examples, but I think you get what I'm coming after. So I love emailing your list on a weekly basis, and I love encouraging and interacting with them in that way, and having small asks. Remember, one email, one topic that you can encourage them and get them to participate, to donate, to hear stories about your population that you serve, and to know ways to give back. Because here's what I'll say about my experience has been with nonprofits when I've been working with them as volunteers or as a donor. I don't always know exactly what you need, and you may feel like you're saying it over and over and over again, but there's so many messages that are going out that it's hard to really process everything. And so the more and more you talk about kind of your needs, your story, who you are, share insightful information. Maybe you're sharing statistics about community engagement, or maybe you're sharing statistics about the environment and small ways that we can make an impact. Maybe you're sharing different mentoring ideas to support other kids in your community. Maybe you're sharing musical songs that people can work on at home. Maybe it's, words of inspiration, or, your daily Bible verse, whatever it is. Email marketing is a great way. And I guarantee you have a large list, so utilize it. And, we can talk more about segmenting and how to keep them all separate, but I think having an email list is strong and super important. Okay. So those are the 3 things that I wanted to talk about with you guys today. And those are only 3 of the 9 that we've got. So, do you remember what they are? Should I run them with you again? So beefing up your donation page on your website, making sure it's set up and ready to go. Creating content on a regular basis to encourage your audience to learn more about you, to become an authority in your field, to provide information for your social media as well as your email marketing, and to start sending emails to your list on a regular basis. I hope that these 3 things were important, and I know that the guide will be super important to you as well. You can check that out at thefirstclick.net /fundraise, or head on over to the show notes at thefirstclick.net /podcast to get all of the links there as well. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm so excited to be back, and I hope you'll subscribe wherever you listen so you don't miss out on a single episode. We come to you every Tuesday. And head on over to thefirstclick.net /fundraise, grab that guide, and share this with any nonprofit that you know might need some help raising funds these days. Okay? See you at the next one.